Yeah, my name is Werner Eriksen, CTO in a company called WorkingGroupTwo. I'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow. The short version is we kind of rebuild mobile core networks to open it up for APIs and consumption of products.
Cool. Thanks a lot. So first question, if anyone on the panel has follow-up questions on what has been presented?
One short question to your great presentation. You said maybe health stack. What's the alternative?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. We started out by building our stuff. That doesn't scale, mostly because of the flexibility of actually doing dashboards. That's the hardest part, in my opinion. I would like for Kibana to actually connect to Postgres. That would be my dream. So that would be like the better version of it. Kibana is open source, but it's very, very, very close together with Elastic, so it's not easy. And there's from my perspective, there's no alternative in terms of decent user experience to Kibana. Right now, what we are seeing is that Power BI is actually growing a lot in the contact center space. So we are just using ODBC to connect Power BI to Postgres. That's a solution.
And the second question that's maybe a little complicated to Alan and what you presented. On the last two Camaillo events, there were both events talks about Docker and Camaillo. And both guys were flooded afterwards. Now you said that it's Ansible and VM as the main answer to how it's actually operated and automated. Do you think it's another reason but lack of experience? Or is that the question is there reasons, or is it just the lack of experience of the community? Because if there are reasons, I would like to know what the reasons are.
Exactly, because with the survey, it's backward facing. So it's looking at what are people doing today based on decisions they've made in the past. And people share, so you do what's easy to understand what other people are doing. But definitely I would say, as we look out going forward, I think that is definitely from a number of events I've attended, people I've talked to. I would say for 2020, we'll see a lot more implementations. Again, I think what João presented is great. We need more presentations where people are just frankly sharing what they've done, what's working, what's not, because it helps everybody in the community be more successful. Because the key with open source telecom software, it's all about standing on the shoulders of giants. It's everybody works together to create a far better product. So that there is competition out there rather than it being, winner takes most of it. So that's why, I think we'll see 2020 a lot more Docker implementations, because it then enables you to have flexibility to run in a number of different implementations. If you're in Germany, you're going to run it on a data center where you have an address, that any customer information or even employee information is stored in that system. You need to have an address as to where it's kept. Well, in other countries, you can be a lot more flexible. And you might be able to then run it within AWS, you might run it in a couple of zones to be able to meet the performance targets.
Cool. Other questions? I don't know, otherwise we can continue as well, maybe to the right, so please raise your hand. So the first point we want to tackle is that imagine you're going to start a new product around telecoms, some of you actually have, or almost all of you have. Considering what you know today, would you decide to build your own telecom stack, or rather build that on top of an existing telecoms API like Twilio? I guess everyone here has good opinions, maybe.
Well, above all, I believe it's a matter of time to market. If you are in a rush or in a hurry, or would like to have a quick showcase of your product, then using Twilio or similar options is definitely a good option to build and go quick to the market. But if you plan to keep control over the long term, then you better think twice. And in the end, I believe there are
third options, like what Wazo does actually is that.
I would have asked that next, by the way. You would have done, did you use some existing product as that, or would you consider it having built something yourself?
You can already build solutions on top of it. We are building ourselves solution on top of our platform, and some people are building call centers like the firefighters that I mentioned, UCAS solution already. So it's the right compromise between going fast to the market, because you do not have to rebuild from scratch, and you know how painful it is, and we need to maintain that over time. So you need to have your own engineering team at home, and it's costly. Then every component is upgrading every 6 months or so, and it checks the whole system. So our job is to do that once for all. So it should decrease pain significantly to anyone. And it's an open source project, so everyone is free to use it and also to contribute, to fix it, to send the feedback.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, I think it mostly depends on whether or not telecommunications is a mission critical element for your product. You know, I totally understand Uber guys saying whatever, let's use Twilio or something. We just want to send some text. What we do is actually provide interconnectivity between drivers and people looking for a drive. So, of course, another key issue is the cost. There's a big opportunity right now, and if we play this out until the end, and let's say that from this point forward, all new companies will decide to use a CPaaS platform. If someone comes along like we do and grabs some open source stuff, they will have major advantage on the price point. So that's, of course, they will need to deal with the telcos, and that's hard. But once they can, that's a major advantage on the price point. And also, from my perspective, and this is classic business management. If your business depends on it, you should own it. You should not outsource it. So outsource whatever you actually don't need on a critical level. Other than that, you should own it. So it depends on the business and the target, but I think both scenarios, for us, for example, we have full understanding of all layers of the stack, and we still use, I think we're using MessageBird, for example, to test our own stack. Okay, so that's a good use case for us. So we pay them to call us to see if everything is okay. Okay, so that's a good use case for us.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's exactly what you said. What we found is, in general, that it's not only time to market, but also time to learn. So quite often you don't exactly know how this product should look like or what it contain. And if you can find ready-made solutions to get that learning quickly, I think that's the place to start. And then later you can choose to in-house or rebuild as you go.
So again, it's the application area of the problem we're trying to solve. So let's take a simple example. Medical equipment manufacturer, and you're trying to build a better customer relationship. You know all these phone numbers of people who have the devices, and you want to communicate with them. And you're not going to build up your own platform to do that, or your own service. You're just going to use something that you can take off the shelf. So Twilio's there, VoIP Innovations is another. It's very easy to just get something up and running. So there's applications where you're never going to drive volume of like Uber. I mean, let's face it, Uber's a special case. When you're spending on WhatsApp, we're spending $50 million a year, on quite simple, basically, sort of messaging services. That's the exception. But what it does make, though, is for many businesses, once you've made that, it could be you just trying to showcase something. Quite often the IT department gets a problem presented by ops, and they just quickly hack something together, and then it becomes a problem. And then they put development into it. So that first decision can be quite a significant blocker. And the problem is that the spend on a monthly basis, is never up into the millions. It always is in that sort of 5,000 to 10,000, where it's like, yeah, but it's going to take another 3 or 4 months payback before it even justifies development. So as a result, you see time and time again a sort of lock-in once you select a particular CPaaS.
Right, thank you. Any follow-up questions? Yeah?
I've got one question. It seems to me, I'm not sure it's about the future of open source telecom, but the market, we've always talked about minutes, that's where we measure traffic, but there is this channel-based model coming in. If you want to talk about Twilio, if you suddenly put a channel-based model into Twilio, it's going to be devastating for their revenues. How do people see that dynamic? Are you starting to price by the channel, maybe as the contact center guy?
Well, yeah, we always did. We do chat. Well, we do actually agent and then channel. Mostly, of course, all traffic is voice, but we have all the channels supported, and you pay X amount per channel. But telecommunications is on the side, so I don't see. I think, for example, Twilio Flex, they do agents, and then they also do features. So that's and from a go-to-market perspective, from my understanding, because they of course they don't let out much information, but the first projects that they did, they were actually implementing the projects themselves directly. So I'm not sure if they are also trying to partner, because that's not their model. They don't go to market directly most of the times. That they have developers that do that actually. And so I'm not sure how it's going to pay out on the price, because it's a specific market. But yeah, I think telecommunications and channel-based price, it's two different things for them, for us as well, and it keeps separate. So.
What I mean is the channel for the voice, for the traffic, not just for the functionality, not for the features that you
Yeah. Like the number of channels on a SIM trunk, is that what you mean?
Well, so it speaks that we buy a number of channels, and then we get as much traffic. We don't pay by the minute. I mean, some countries we
Can we parallel calls in a way?
Yeah, so the traffic essentially has become just.
Oh no, no one does that. From my perspective,
That's what I mean.
no one does that. That's going to kill you.
That's what I mean. So if we go, my point then.
Like a flat fee.
Yeah. So my point then is,
Yeah.
if we want to look beyond
You
Twilio,
can't do that.
you can.
I think in some markets, though, so what I've seen in your request, we've been involved, we've got that offer, and I was asking, do you mean it's flat per channel?
Yeah.
Per seat for contact center, for
No,
example?
I don't mean for seat, I mean for the traffic.
Yeah.
Simultaneous phone calls. Because if we're going to look beyond Twilio, which seems to be the theme here, I love doing that stuff. Then let's go channel-based model with a Babel or a
Okay.
Wazo or whatever it is.
But from your perspective, is the minutes are included? The conversation minutes are included in the price, flat fee per channel?
A channel is a simultaneous phone call. So we
Yes.
have, at Speakso, we have several hundred channels,
Yes.
and we use them around the world. I mean, where's Alex?
So what you mean is the data
What's that?
model for the voice?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, one of my questions earlier was, what if the CPaaS start talking to each other? So over the top,
Yeah.
quality and security, there are two big issues there, but actually, if they start speaking to each other, they can come up with these type of business models, But I don't see, it's hard for a telecom, for a carrier to follow up on that, I think it drives the
Right.
price down to a point where it's not feasible. And if you don't have a profit, you won't have technology as well. So
But some carriers are starting to look into that possibility,
I know.
multi as well, so at one point it will come.
Well, it's
Yes.
already here with UCAS.
So Simon stays quiet over there.
Where it'll be geographically bounded, so it could be flat fee for Europe. If you're then calling outside of the Eurozone, then it moves back to a call fee, because you can't could absorb, but it would be profit.
the thing is, for example, in Portugal, you have that model already for GSM, for example, you pay a flat fee and basically can call everyone at any time. I don't think they even check. But from my perspective, for a contact center, for a volume that you can reach, it's not there yet. The economics are not there yet. It might happen, but I'm not sure if a carrier would be open to actually providing that model for a contact center that does billions of calls per month or per year. Not sure.
Simon, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, so we do use that model as a carrier, and we do it into contact centres, particularly financial ones. But we moved to that model in 2014 when those idiots at Ofcom gave 90% of our revenue to poor little BT.
And the channel-based model was a way of reducing the possibility of that happening again in the future, because it took revenue away from their sweaty little nets. It isn't as pure play as as it may seem. We've just shifted margin to the channel, so we still charge for the minutes, not an included bundle.
Yeah.
But at the very top end, somebody will be paying for the capacity. Our profit will be in the capacity. At the minute, we're just really passing through a cost because the price continues to decline, and that's quite nice for everybody because it's predictable costs, but it's also committed revenue that can be on long-term contracts. You haven't got any of this kind of business, and we're seeing increasing. We operate pay-as-you-go at the bottom end, and then this full kind of committed channels at the top end. We see customers continue migrating up.
And do your customers, when they balance, because there's yearly balance between the communications, and if you have a lot of traffic, it can mean a lot of money. How do you address this? So if I go to you and say, look, I'm not using as much as I should, so I'm getting a worse deal, because what happens is you're getting a good deal and I'm getting a bad deal, or it's the other way around. It's not fair, let's say.
But like I said, at the bottom end, it's pay as you go, so they can kind of find their feet, find the level of capacity they need, and then commit and grow through it. But at the same time, we let people burst beyond what they've committed to if the capacity is there on the network, because why wouldn't we? I know some people have strict, you've paid for 10 channels, you can only use 10 channels in 10,000.
But you still cap on the limit, on the minutes. At some point, you need to cap.
Why?
No.
Only based on what's available.
Yeah.
Or not.
Okay.
So we have a metric for network performance, basically, and then we have almost like quads in Ethernet that we apply on channel allocations. So those that are committing the most get first dibs on the excess capacity. Those that are committing nothing get no dibs on excess capacity.
Okay.
And
Do you geographically bound that bucket pricing?
No.
So it's just.
Well, we price it differently in the US to the UK, but a given channel on the network can operate anywhere. That makes sense.
Oh, right. So I can be calling any number?
Yeah, where you're calling is relevant, because we're still charging for the call. It's just the margins in the channel.
No, but the thing
So these aren't bundles. There's a distinction between charging.
I think the question is, you do not charge per minute, period. You just charge per channel. That's the question.
Yeah.
But I think with termination fees between carriers,
It's easier on inbound than outbound, obviously.
Yeah, of course. We don't charge anything on inbound, by the way, so zero. So that's a good price, actually. and if you're doing outbound, you have to pay termination to other carriers, so it becomes a whole different story. That's why I was saying, it's hard to convince a carrier to actually do that, because you either commit and say, I'm going to consume X amount of minutes, and it's the same thing as paying up front, whatever.
But you're in a great position because you've already said that you're a carrier in, as I remember, Spain and Portugal.
Yep.
So you've got control over the.
Yeah, but we
last mile,
don't have,
of
course, but we have to interconnect with all the carriers, and most of our traffic is actually reselling. Okay, so we have own numbers, etc., but most of our traffic is actually reselling over Vodafone or Orange, etc. So we pay them for the calls as well. So that's why I can't run a flat fee. Or if I run a flat fee, it's bad for the customer, because it cannot be bad for me. That's the main thing.
Just a totally random point while we're on pricing. I've seen a pricing model that an organisation operates in the UK where they do call centre inbound based on a pence per minute, inbound or outbound, so what they're actually pricing on, which is actually quite interesting if you think about it. If you want to make your offering the kind of the ultimate accessible offering, that's an interesting way to do it. Now, of course, the customers tend to be charities who have 1,000 inbound minutes on Thursday and none for 3 months or whatever. But interesting, anyone has any comments on that as a model? Would it ever work as a retail model?
Anyone? Well,
I mean, I just told you why it wouldn't.
yeah. The thing is, it's the same answer. It's the same. It's not. Well, I'll make a different case. So we have one of our business models is you have our contact center solution, and you pay price per minute for outbound, everything is included. So you get data center connectivity, software, and telecommunications price. And at some level of contract, we get to a price where actually you're paying your current carrier as much as you would be paying us with everything included, you know. And what we found over time is that it tends not to be a fair model, you know, because we have to go into the project and say, look, you need to use at least X amount of minutes, you know, because we have a real cost on allocating that infrastructure and doing the project, et cetera, et cetera. And if the customer starts dipping down on their campaigns, because we mostly work with BPO, so it's very seasonal, they start calling us saying, look, I know we committed, you know, because it's a B2B market, you keep a relationship ongoing with your customers, so you can't just say to them, no, you know. So they call you and say, I know we committed to X amount of minutes, but actually we're going a bit lower and it doesn't seem fair for us. Can we make another deal with you? You know, so, and then I think that's actually a problem on managing expectations, you know. I think if the cost was zero for us, flat fee, yes, all the way. Since there's no zero cost between carriers, you know, you're always going to pay something to someone. And running contact center, that cost can be very, very high. So it's a business decision that, from my perspective, has no economics on this one.
Thanks. Maybe one point, and I try to combine 2 points that were in the question that we've shown on the web, and that also may connect to some of the points that you presented earlier and talked about. The one thing is, if cloud native, or why, or is it actually an unpopular choice for open source? And I want to connect a bit also to, I think the Wazo platform now with Ansible scripts included, right? So I think it's very hard to get started with open source. And would it help maybe if you would say have somewhere an Ansible script or library or something, some aggregator where you just need to enter your AWS key and secret and press enter and set up the whole stack and then get started, right? Instead of having to cross this initial setup, and you would be immediately up and running, you could scale immediately. So do you think that that's something that is based also on the findings from Ellen's study, currently an opportunity that's missed, or is that just is the focus, has the focus been different? Maybe?
Well, I believe.
Or is what you're doing actually?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the Wazo platform is something I understood a bit going in that direction, right?
No, that's something that we are doing. That most open source technology are using. Well, most open source technologies today are cloud native.
Well, at least for Camarate, I tried to find Ansible script for Camarate the other day. It wasn't that easy to find, and
okay, so okay, basically we encapsulate Camarate within Wazo stack and has a core. It is absolutely cloud native, and then you can install it, deploy it easily through Ansible, very easily on any cloud infrastructure or your own infrastructure. So you still have the opportunity to take any technology and put that in the container and to deploy it. I believe cloud native is not at all antagonist to open source technologies. That's the way we make the technology today. That's why we build technology. Okay.
And you feel it's embraced enough by all the projects, or just by you guys, just to get that point? Because I feel the project itself, we're not really focused on that yet enough. We've had a question from Martin about Docker, why there's no focus on yet. Alan said also it's a bit like we're looking with forward. Do you feel it's the one project's focus on it enough, or is it just you guys starting with it?
We believe this is the right way to go, and maybe because we are talking to people that share the same opinion, then we see most people going into that direction. Yeah.
Now you mentioned also earlier that you would do cloud differently, or you would embrace it more.
Well, I think we were born in a time where there was a lot of the word on the street at that point was that you couldn't get latency network. Even Docker had the networking stack was not good. So we were born in an exact time where cloud was not plug and play. even today, and I agree with what you're saying, these projects, they probably, if you go ahead and talk to the leaders, they say, yes, you can run on cloud, but they're not actually focused on making it easier, and because of course you can run everything from Amazon. Even Amazon and Google both are very, very supportive on open source projects for their own infrastructure. I think the biggest issue probably when you try to start scale, if you're like we are a bootstrapped company, is costs run very, very high for real-time processing, especially voice, and it's not compatible with the business model, at least at the prices that the market is willing to pay. And you lose out on some stuff, actually. You win some stuff, but you also lose, some of the flexibility that we currently have to interconnect with customers. It's not easy to go into let's say a random company, average size random company, and say, do a private connection with Amazon. No one does that these
I
days.
think traffic cost was that impact on the cost channels as well. I mean, it's different, I guess, if you have a dedicated infrastructure with a dedicated pipe connected to it. Or
Yeah, if you scale enough, your own data center is always much cheaper. But you need to scale. If you are small, if it's just like a single project or a small group of projects, cloud is a lot cheaper. But it has like no middle point of almost. When it starts to become cheap, it becomes. When it starts to become expensive, it gets very expensive very fast.
But if we get back to the definition of cloud native itself, or what it means, it means that you design your service within a microservice architecture. So you have your components that you make as light as possible, and that you can orchestrate each with the others. Through APIs, so that's what the API centric. And why we do so is to take the most of what you can get from the cloud. That's the point. That means that you can scale very efficiently, both horizontally or vertically. That's the way we're heading to, and I guess the industry has no other option within our current work to do so.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yes, and I think the problem you talked about is to get started. I think you get the problem is not getting it started, it's to manage the thing day two. So the focus is not really on just getting going. I think that can be solved, but actually the project or the component itself requires quite a lot of competence to actually be useful. So I think that's maybe why you don't see such a great number of projects getting started.
And actually, some of the components we use, such as Camilio or Asterisk, those are very complete solutions for what they're supposed to do. They're well designed, but the more features you add, then the less you can scale. So part of our job is to construct those grids and then to make them orchestral.
Yeah. So that's again where work has to be done, and I don't see that being delivered yet by the project. So having a playbook and having a cloud formation template for scaling, that's exactly what I'm going to get us, right? Where we need to, I guess a lot of work is going to be, or will be put into, but it's not yet maybe there. And I guess it's also what you study reflects in a way that VMware and there we use automation tools for that stuff to make our job easier as integrator, but not yet to have it, let's say, as independent services. So as clients.
That's what we do. So
One
push button.
We're just listening to that most of these projects were incepted way before microservices was a term. So if you look at Camarate and so on, they would look at a very different time.
Yeah.
So it's not just about putting some scripts around it. You might need to actually slice and dice it.
Sorry, just can I interject on a couple of points? Cloud native, Kubernetes, containerization. It's all been, a lot of it's been around WebRTC, HTTP, HTTP2, gRPC. It's real time, but it can be requeued, it can be replayed, it can be shuffled around, but you can't do that with voice. So a lot of the pain that people go through, and Simon probably agreed on this one,
putting free switching to Docker. Theoretically, it's easy. In practice, it gets a little bit dicey sometimes with networking. There's ways around that, obviously. You know, and it's kind of back to the old days of, you know, the free switching. The aspects people go, oh, of course they're running the VM. And they go, I wouldn't do it though. You know, so it was going, yeah, of course free switching running Kubernetes and running Docker. Just open up every single port, and that would take a week or two. Run BGP on top of it, or just run it on a host network. And so, you know, it's not quite microservice ready yet. The interesting thing also about, you know, you look at conversation about, you know, free switch ESL and, you know, wrapping stuff around it. Why has it not got an updated HTTP interface? It has bits of one here and bits of that there and bits of events on it. It's not quite microservice on its own. And then the other thing as well, with, you know, with the real-time stuff, okay, kill a free switch container, see what happens. It could be got around, you know, you can move stuff around, but it's not like Envoy just sit there and go, oh look, you know, let's just shuffle the traffic to another container. So I think we've got some challenges ahead of us. And on one side you've got, you know, the web guys, the CNCF and, you know, Kubernetes and Telekom, etc. On the other side you've got the voice guys. We're kind of moving closer together, but we still speak a different language.
Yeah, thanks for that. So I guess we can wrap up this.